This podcast presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The host purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only answer to paranormal phenomena. We have not yet begun to touch the surface into these supernatural occurrences. With that being said, welcome to the Paranormal Journal.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Journal. I'm your host, John Curley. Welcome to another episode. This is episode 28. Man, 28. I'm up there. I'm getting up there. We're just starting out. I'm getting up there. I'm glad I'm getting a lot of listeners. I'm glad you guys are out there and downloading and listening to the show. I hope you like the content. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about Bigfoot. Yes, Bigfoot. I love this topic because I've always been fascinated with Bigfoot ever since I was a kid. Watching the Patterson Gimlin footage of Bigfoot out in Oregon, walking through the that old riverbed, and man, that is just one awesome piece of footage. If it's not faked, there's a lot of disbelief about, is there really a Bigfoot? It Does Bigfoot really exist? And I'm gonna have to say I believe he does. There's just so many different there's just so much vast wilderness out there that we really don't, we haven't even really been able to get out there and research how much wilderness is really out there and how much stuff is really out there that we don't know. There's a lot of species out there that we haven't even confirmed. I mean, probably thousands and thousands of species that there's never even been confirmed yet of what's out there. So is Bigfoot real? I'm gonna have to say yeah. We haven't gotten a body yet, but or found a body yet. But eventually, someone's going to wind up killing a Bigfoot. It's going to happen. It's there's only so much land, and unfortunately, we as mankind are intruding on that land and forest, and we're taking away a lot of the habitat of nature and animals, and when you do that, there's always a conflict between man and animal. And unfortunately, a lot of times animals lose because we have the firepower to really get rid of them. If they become a pest, then what's mankind do? We kill them off. Unfortunately, we've done it with like the Tasmanian tiger and the rhino. Just we've just put so many animals into extinction that it's sad. Because it's not their fault that we're intruding on their land. We're building a species ourselves. We're getting larger. There's more people being born, and it's just the world's getting smaller, and we're getting more. Man, I think that's why a lot of these diseases are popping out now as well. COVID and things like that. The more we expand our population, the more diseases are gonna pop out, and we're going to face more things like the stuff that we've been going through for the last 2 or 3 years with COVID and all these different diseases. And unfortunately, we're encroaching on animals and their land. And, eventually someone's going to run into a Bigfoot in a hunting situation or a camping situation, and they're going to have a firearm. And this thing's going to project a problem, and someone's probably going to kill it. I mean, let's be realistic. Someone's going to wind up shooting a Bigfoot and killing. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. With the technology we have now and the weapons we have now, and we have phones and we have cameras, and they don't seem uh, violent. You know what I mean? But we really don't know because we haven't been able to study them. I mean, what we've seen in the woods. I mean, there are people that say they're violent. Just like this thing in Alaska where they had a whole town that was supposedly, these creatures were killing off the village people up in Alaska, and they wound up shutting the whole town down. And it's no longer a town; it was like a fishery or something like that. But you know, who knows? You know what I mean? You don't. We don't know what these things are capable of doing. Could they kill you? Absolutely. Could we kill them? Absolutely. I've heard a lot of different things about them, that they're paranormal and they're aliens, and we really don't know because we don't have a body. Unless you have a body, scientifically, we're never going to know. And there have been incidences where I believe that their military did come up with bodies with the Mount St. Helens eruption. They did say that the volcano had burned a few of the. They actually came across bodies that were burnt, that were Bigfoots, Sasquatches, whatever you want to call them. They did come across some that were still alive. Allegedly, the government took these bodies, and everything's surrounded in mystery with the government, with our government, and are the government keeping secrets from us? Absolutely, they do it for our own purpose, for our own sake, because if we really knew some of the stuff that's out there, it would probably scare the shit out of you. You know what I mean? Some of the technology that's out there, if we really knew and understood the power and the capability of it, it would probably scare us to death. And a lot of people can't handle that. You know, can't handle the truth, can't handle the fact that there is other life in other solar systems, and there are Bigfoots, there are ghosts, there are these things. Some people don't want to accept that, but I do believe there is a Bigfoot. There's just too many encounters throughout the whole United States, throughout the world. I mean, China, Asia, all over, all over the place. They're seeing these things, and are they real? Absolutely. These people aren't, hallucinating. They're seeing these things. They're capturing them on film as well. Now we have technology. We have cameras. We have camera phones. We have game trail cameras. They're catching these things. These things are real, folks. I mean, they are elusive. They are elusive. You got to think they're bipedal creatures. They walk on 2 feet. They have a brain. They can think. Uh, it's just amazing, that we haven't found one yet. We found all the signs. We find footprints and hair and vocalizations and things like that, but nobody yet. Nobody yet. Nobody has yet to come up with a Bigfoot carcass or a even scat. I don't think anybody's found any scat or feces from a Bigfoot or anything like that. I mean, it's a totally weird thing that we haven't found a body yet. But these things are in the vast wilderness, and one of them dies. Who's to say that they don't take their dead and bury them? Because there are more than one. They could dig a hole and bury them. Who the hell knows? Maybe they eat them. Other animals eat them. I mean, you got to think. Deer and stuff, they die in the woods all the time. How many times have you walked in the woods personally and came up on a deer carcass or a bear carcass or anything of that nature in the woods? Haven't came across many in the 49 years that I've been around. Um, very very few times have I come walking through the woods and found a carcass of anything. If you did, you might find little pieces of it, but a lot of times other animals and predators, they dispose of the body. You have buzzards, you have raccoons, you have you have all kinds of stuff that eat dead things. And when something dies, the earth pretty much takes it back. It's gone. Either other animals eat it, or it's just after a while, it's just dissolving away into nothing again. Sort of like ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So in Pennsylvania, I live in Pennsylvania, so I was looking online at some of the uh, little pinpoints of where Bigfoots have been, Sasquatches have been reported or seen, or I'll tell you what, Pennsylvania is loaded. Wow, man! I was looking on this map, and there are so many pinpoints of sightings in Pennsylvania. Wow, and it's a lot of them are geared westernly toward like Ohio. We do have a bunch. I mean, they're all throughout the whole state, but a lot of them are geared toward the Ohio area, headed up toward like the Great Lakes. Um, wow, man, I'm looking at it right now online, and whew, it is a ton. Jesus, I mean, throughout the whole state, and you click on some of these pinpoints, and there are stories behind some of these. And I'm gonna read some of these tonight of people who have encountered some of these Bigfoots and while they're driving, whether they're camping or even at their own homes. So these things have been intruding intruding on them in their own homes and banging on their windows and their trailers. And oh man, that's got to be a little unnerving. You know what I mean? Say you're camping and you're having rocks thrown at your tent, or you just knockings or these whooping noises or these screams that these things let out. I don't know if you ever heard some of these screams that these things have let out, but good God, they would scare the hell out of you. You're in the middle of the woods camping, and it's quiet, and all of a sudden you hear one of these screams in the woods. Holy shit, I would be scared to death. I would definitely have a firearm. Um, it would definitely. I'm not going in any woods without a firearm. I don't care. You can be all the mother nature you want, but telling you one thing: if a bear attacks you, or a cougar, or a mountain lion, anything can attack you in the woods. That's a predator and do some seriously bodily harm to you. Even a coyote. Coyote will have no problem tearing into you. And I definitely won't want to be on the receiving end of any wild animal tearing me apart, especially a Bigfoot. If I had to defend myself against a Bigfoot, yes, I would kill it. Um, if it had to come between me, my life, and that thing's life, I'm going to defend myself, and I would probably kill it. I'd probably be maybe one of the most famous or infamous people in the world, but I'm still going to be alive. That's for damn sure. There's reports of these things being up to 4 foot tall, up to 9 foot tall, 10 foot tall. And I work in construction, and I'm telling you what, 10 foot is big. If I seen a bipedal creature, 10 foot, hairy, muscular in the woods, staring at me within 50 yards, I'm going to be pretty scared. I don't know about you people, but I'm going to be pretty scared, and I am probably going to unload my weapon if it gets any closer than you start getting 50 yards isn't far. It starts closing in within 25 yards. You might want to be prepared to shoot this thing. If you want to find out what it's going to do to you, then good luck, because I really don't. Excuse me. I've been attacked by dogs and stuff as a kid, and I can tell you one thing: getting bit by an animal is no fun. I've had holes put in my arms from dogs and stuff, and from just stray dogs. And I tell you what, it's no fun. It doesn't feel good. That's for damn sure. And I couldn't imagine a creature at 10 foot tall, weighing 900,000 pounds, grabbing you or biting you, or oh my god, just like a grizzly bear. You know what I mean? Like the grizzly man that got ate by the grizzlies. By that one grizzly, him and his girlfriend, the grizzly man that they did the documentary on, he got ate by a grizzly bear. Him and his girlfriend got ate alive. I mean, I can't even imagine the pain that man was going through, and the woman. I can't imagine it. That's terrible. It's horrible. And there was audio, I think, of that captured. I don't think it ever got played. There's something going around the internet that was him, but I think that's a total hoax. But I don't think the cameraman ever released that audio. But it's just I don't know, man. Are these things real? I believe they're real. There's just too many sightings. I mean, Jesus, I'm looking at this map, and it's unbelievable. Wow. It stretches from the Maryland border all the way up to the borderline of New York, Buffalo, New York, Cleveland. I mean, Jesus. thousands and thousands and thousands of reports. It's not an imagination. It's not something that somebody's just imagining they're seeing these things, and a lot of these are in state forests too. Wow, you have the Susquehannock State Forest, uh, Mich- what's it, the Machow State Forest. Jesus, the Alleghenies. I mean, oh my God, everywhere. Bald Eagle State Forest. Bunch of sightings in the Bald Eagle State Forest, but it's a lot out here to the west, Pittsburgh area around there. I mean, a lot. What forest is that right there? That is Laurel Ridge State Park. They have had a ton of sightings in there. Mount Pleasant, a lot of sightings. Good God, it is a ton. Right in this one little area right here, it is a ton. Wow, nothing really special about it. It's a large wooded area. There are homes there, but I mean it's a large wooded area. I'm gonna read one from this is from Kennerdale, PA. This is a report that was filed Kennerdale, PA. 6 p.m. A man and two friends driving an older Buick Regal were parked in front of the Rockland Tunnel having a drink. That doesn't sound good, but maybe they're having a drink. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. Let's see. They started to notice rocks being thrown in their direction. Rocks became larger, almost the size of a basketball, about the 25, 30 pound range. That's pretty decent size of a basketball. That might be a little bigger than 25 pounds. A rock the size of a basketball. You're talking probably 75 to 100 pounds. I don't think it's 25. Uh, they then heard larger trees and tree limbs being violently shaken and started to break and snap off. They heard a blood curdling, difficult to describe scream, which they also felt like they said like it was like rumbling in their stomach and their skin, like a infrasound almost. That lasted about 15 seconds and was very close to them. They said at this point, despite being hunters and a military veteran, they decided to leave. As they were driving away on the road, they wrapped around and backwards. Going about 30 miles per hour, they saw a creature running and approaching the car from the woods. The creature easily ran alongside the car about 3 seconds and looked in at the man in the rear passenger side window. He described it looking like a Saint Bernard's fur, but hair at 4 inches tan color, but also different colors. Its face was human like, a man with a beard up to its cheekbones with a gorilla type nose. It had a dark reddish skin which went around the eyes, nose, mouth, and its head came to a point, like Harry and the Hendersons, like the movie Harry and the Hendersons. It had deep ridges around its eyes and head. Its strides were stretched from the front door crease to the back door. Wow. It was a male, and he observed its genitals moving while it paralleled them. Hmm. No whites to the eyes, all black. And then it just veered off into the woods. Hmm. That's an interesting one. That would scare the hell out of you, huh? You see a Bigfoot running to you in the woods, running at your car and then keeping up with your car at 30 miles an hour. Yeah, I would have been flooring it. Been gone. Yeah, no, no. There's another one here. Oh, this is a good one because I know where this is at. This is in Mercer, PA, which is in Mercer County. It's a Skyline Drive. Um, this is a really famous place where people ride motorcycles and stuff like that. Really pretty in the fall to go take a drive if you want to see the changing of the fall colors of the leaves and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful place. It says at 3:30 a.m. on a cold, rainy night, a man driving up Skyline Drive from 62 saw a large tan, deer-colored figure about 7 to 7.5 foot tall. That's big, man. I mean, that's like Shaq, dude. It was walking on the left side of the road. It had narrower hips and wide shoulders, about 3.5 to 4 foot wide, with an estimated weight of about 600 pounds. Dude, 600 pounds of like a muscular, hairy figure. And can't, yeah, no, yeah, that's scary. Whether people say they're docile, they're not violent. You don't know. It's a wild animal. Uh, it says his friend in the car ahead of his car also saw it, except it was on the right side of the road at that time. It was walking very smooth, not bobbing up and down. That's the most of the story there. But 7 and 7 and 7 and 7.5 foot tall. That is big, man. I mean, that's like Shaq, dude. 600 pounds. I mean, if you ever seen a picture of Shaq, that guy is ginormous. And this thing weighed around 600 pounds. Man, he could rip you from limb to limb. I mean, and who knows what kind of teeth it has? I mean, it's scary, man. I mean, there a lot of people make it out to be really a docile kind of cryptid or bipedal man, or I really don't know what they are. Are they some kind of off breed of us, or Gigantopithecus, or who the hell knows? It could be something from the ice age that survived. You know what I mean? It could be a descendant of Gigantopithecus, which is the big great ape, that came from Asia that crossed over the ice bearing when there was an ice bearing. So is it one of them? It could be, but I mean, I couldn't imagine running into this thing in the woods. And you're by yourself, and it's a 7.5, 8 foot, 9 foot hairy creature. Good God, man. Yeah, I'd be a little worried. I'd be a lot worried. There's so many stories, and they all these have stories to them too. This one's in Cadogan, PA, Armstrong County. This has got a long description. It happened at dusk. Since I was fishing at the Cadogan on the Allegheny River, a lot of things on the Allegheny, man. A lot of sightings there on the Allegheny River in western Pennsylvania. I parked at the top of the ramp going down to the river. It's not a boat ramp, just one for backing like four-wheel drives down to the water. It's getting to be just about twilight when I hear something moving down the hillside across from us. It's steep, but not too steep. I hear it barreling down the hills, but the brush is thick and really high, better part of 12 foot. I'm waiting for a black bear to hop onto the road, but it doesn't. It just stops in the middle of the last brush right beside the road. Thinking it was still a bear, I ushered my friend and his 4-year-old daughter down to the river. There are a bunch of rocks there, a variety of sizes. I'm still in my car, less than 5 feet from my door, and this brush is a good 30 feet away. So I know I can make it to my car and distract it with my horn and engine if it comes toward me. They're thinking it's a bear, so he's thinking, well, if it comes, I can distract it with the horn until we get in the car and get out of there. So, and yet it never leaves the brush. It just shakes it violently. It's like it's in the bush and it's shaking the bush violently. I stand there about 5 minutes, and I can see it make its way up the hill. I didn't realize it was pushing the small trees around it. I wasn't connecting anything because of my adrenaline was so high because I thought it was probably a bear. I never saw it, and it was too dark by that point. I walked back down to the river. We're gathering up all our stuff. It's getting way too creepy. We're packing up, and I can hear knocking sounds coming from from the hillside, which is a typical thing for Bigfoots. They make this knocking noises with other tree branches, banging them on tree trunks and stuff. Call it tree knocking. Says I can see a group of people downriver from us, but they aren't near any trees. They're actually on an outcrop and about 20 feet away from the tree line. This knocking is about is about 20 or 30 feet above us and slightly upriver, and even they had reacted to it, looking around, not knowing what's making that sound. I yelled to them about possibly being a bear. They said they heard something coming down the hillside and seen my buddy running towards the water. They thanked us for the heads up. As soon as they thanked us, a rock came flying off the hillside in between us and them. We actually saw the rock hit the water. They jumped as I did. We really weren't expecting it expecting it to hit the water as hard as it did. I turned around to see if my friend was up on the hill messing with us. As I turned, he was just a few feet behind us, holding his daughter, and both were white as a ghost. Yeah, I bet the hell they were. I decided to reach down, grab grab a rock to carry it with me, just in case it got real. I guess it means there's something Pop Dad's gonna hit with the rock or something. So 3 more times we heard these rocks hitting the water, and I just had enough. Our site was all cleaned up, and I took it as a perfect time to retaliate. Not my best decision. but I knew where but I knew where they were being thrown from, meaning the rocks, that damn brush up there, so I chucked it. I knew there wasn't any trees around. I figured if I threw it, it would probably blow right through the brush, but it didn't. It made a sound like someone who was beating their chest, and it rolled back out towards me. That means it hit something that was in the bush. I hit him in the chest or something. He said, I actually heard whatever I hit. I put on there. I actually heard whatever I hit get the wind knocked out of it, and it hit the hillside. It takes off down the road towards the other group. They start screaming in utter terror, screams, and start throwing whatever they could at it. I'm just standing there, bewildered at this point, and watching them watching them scatter about through the woods. A few of them went into the water, and the rest ran towards me. All of a sudden, someone yells, "Get in the truck!" They take off to their truck. They literally left everything. Nobody grabbed anything, and they took off. I'll never forget their screams. I ran back up the hill, hopped in my car. My buddy ran with his daughter right after they stated right after they started shouting. He was crying, and I've known this man for 20 years. I can, he said, I can count on one hand how many times I've seen this man cry. I started up my car, and we hightailed it out of there. Never seen what it was. I put everything together later. That night, it's been 5 years since it happened, and he absolutely refuses to go back down there again. Damn shame, too, because it's an amazing catfish spot. Well, I don't think it's worth losing your life for to catch some catfish. You can go anywhere and catch catfish, so I don't blame his buddy for not going back there because I know my ass wouldn't go back there. After I love fishing, and I tell you what, I wouldn't risk it. That's for damn sure. That is some creepy stuff, man. And there was multiple witnesses to it too. So it didn't sound like it was probably a bear because usually a bear is only going to attack you, and black bears aren't really that aggressive. I've seen plenty of black bear, um, and I went to Canada and seen them, and they weren't really aggressive. And I did see them with cubs, and they were around our cabin, and they weren't really that aggressive. Not like a grizzly bear. A grizzly bear will probably tear you apart in about 2 seconds if it's got a sow come between a sow and its cubs. But who knows what these Bigfoots can do? These Sasquatches or whatever, Yowie or whatever you want to call them. If it has young, who knows? Maybe it'd be like a Bigfoot, and your ass is done. You're gonna get tore apart. I wouldn't want to find that out. That's for damn sure. That's scary, man. That's really scary. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up a couple more here. Um, this is from Copel, PA. I mean, there's so many stories of these encounters. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. This is from Copel, PA, Beaver County. It says location details. It was about the eighth of a mile from the Wampa mushroom mines. Hmm, mushroom mines. Oh, well, maybe these things are not only meat eaters, they eat, you know, vegetables, mushrooms, and things like that. Why not? It's in the Coppell Strip Mines, nearest town, Coppell, nearest road, 18, Big Beaver Boulevard. Wow. Let's see. It says, hello, I am from Copel, PA, Beaver County. It says, I have miles and miles of strip mines and mushroom mines all around my house. It says, editor's note, mushroom mines are underground coal mines. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm thinking they're mushrooms. That's what I know, but I know about coal mines. They're underground coal mines that were converted into subterranean farms for, oh, well, I guess they are for growing mushrooms. Okay, for growing mushrooms. So basically, they turn coal mines into mushroom mines to grow mushrooms. Okay, Mushrooms grow very well in these tunnels because the air temperature and humidity remain very stable and constant throughout the season. Modern methods for stabilizing the temperature and humidity have made mushroom mines mostly obsolete, so most of these tunnels have been abandoned. Okay, so this is where now you're getting into where Bigfoot may be inhabiting these tunnels for shelter and stuff like that. So now, yeah, this is creepy. So it says I was in a strip mine by the Wampa mushroom mines and heard a loud groaning sound. Uh, Me and my buddy and I went to make sure no one was hurt. And we saw a large framed figure, all dirty brown color. I think it was a brown bear. He said, I was thinking it was a brown bear. Yelled very loud to spook it and make it run. But the large figure turned and looked at us. Wow. Just turned and looked at us. He said, and when it looked at us in the eyes. I mean, directly in our eyes, and then ran. He said, I never believed in Bigfoot, but this is hard to ignore. It stood about 6 feet plus. So they're not really not knowing how big it is, they're just saying 6 foot or more. Very thick build, kind of like a heavyweight boxer. The hair was medium in length, dirty brown, closely resembling a brown bear. The figure was not very threatening, but instead just ran off into the mines. So it's using the mines as shelter, which is pretty wild. We looked for it for about an hour or so, but didn't see it again. Also noticed we both heard a lot of groaning sounds. Nothing else seemed out of place. Other witnesses there were two witnesses. We were on our way to explore some trails, looking for good quad trails for four-wheeler trails, and had come across the same thing too. Never heard much about sightings in PA other than from this site. Hmm. Time and year conditions. It was like 7:45 a.m. So it was in the morning, just getting light in the woods. Hmm. So it sounds like these things are using like kind of strip mines or mushroom mines to probably inhabit it to to live and get shelter and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, are they real? I would think so. I mean, Jesus, from what I'm seeing with these sightings, not a lot of them are going to a lot of detail. That's just some of the ones I've read with detail. But if you ever want to see footage of Bigfoot, you just go to YouTube and type in the Patterson Gimlin footage of Bigfoot. It's pretty compelling. I mean, a lot of people say they faked the video, but um, to me, it doesn't look like it's faked. It looks very real. It's shot in an old, like 35 millimeter uh, camera or something like that. I mean, it's really old footage, but it's really, really compelling. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So I'm gonna read another one. This one is from Myersdale, PA, which is in Somerset County. Which I've been to Somerset County uh, quite a few times for paranormal investigations. Never a Bigfoot investigation. I'm still waiting for somebody to give me a Bigfoot investigation. I'm ready. I want to check out some Bigfoot stuff. It's kind of scary. I mean, I don't like going into the woods at night without a weapon, but I would do it. But I'd probably have a weapon. But how some of these people do it, I think they think they're more human than animal. But oh, excuse me. I don't know. I don't. Is it more human than animal? I don't know. That's a decision you would have to make on the fly, or you're going to survive that decision. That's the problem. Um, I think I'd rather survive that situation and not really come across it. But who knows? But this is from Somerset County. Um, let's see. My last encounter was again outside of Myersdale, PA, which is Somerset County. My friend and I were hunting on his aunt's property. After we parked, we started up a hill that gets steep. Where the woodbine starts, we split up. He goes off to the left, I go off to the right. We went all the way to the top of the hill to a deer stand that that's in the woods about 40 yards from the field. This was our third day there. As I was climbing up the deer stand, I hear a distinct whoop, like a whoop, whoop, like Bigfoots usually make this whooping noise. Um, I would estimate 100 yards ahead of me. I decided I didn't want to be a sitting duck in the deer stand, so I climbed down and went back into the field where I sat. Once the sun began going down, I decided to walk back down the hill. Now inside the woods was pitch black, which it does get dark as hell at night in the woods and really gets super creepy. But there's still some light in the field. Once I got to the bottom where the woodbine curves, I heard footsteps. I looked up and I saw a silhouette walking on the other side of the brush where the woodbine curves. I figured it was my friend who decided to walk up to meet up with me since it was getting dark. I said, "Hey, did you see any deer?" And all of a sudden, this thing tore into the woods and made its way up the hill. I know this was no person, as it was pitch black in those woods, and there was so much debris. There is no way a person could move at that speed. This thing was clearly, clearly bipedal. The footsteps were so loud and pronounced. He said, my friend came out of the woods about 60 yards away. I saw his light before I saw him. He said he heard someone walking around and also questioned me about the whooping noises that we heard, as he thought it was me that I did it. It was then that introduced him to the Bigfoot world. And he said, damn it, I never thought about that. That was all weird stuff too. He said I heard it up there until you showed me all this bleep bleep bleep. In other words, it's shit. Until you showed me all this shit. Apparently, he has heard things up in the woods before, but needless to say, we didn't go hunting up there anymore. So they didn't go hunting on that property anymore after they heard that. So it's probably a pretty smart move. But they did have a gun, so if things would have got squirrely, hey, maybe they would have you know got their first encounter and popped the Bigfoot. If they would have popped the Bigfoot, you never know. Now I don't live too far from Caledonia State Park. Like, I used to ride quads up in Caledonia. It's up near like Shippensburg and stuff like that, and a lot of mountains up in there. Cool place to ride four wheelers. Now, like I said, I did have a really weird encounter with my brother in the in Caledonia State Park. It was really really weird. Um, I've told the story before, but it's it's weird, man. Like it was weird because I've never been into the woods where you don't even hear bugs. I mean, yeah, but we were riding four wheelers all day, and we got tires. So, hey man, let's stop. We're just driving, and we came across this clearing in the middle of the woods. It was kind of a weird clearing too, because it's an all wooded area. But then we came across this open spot where there was no woods. It was just an open spot, no trees. So we stopped, and I'm sitting there in my quad. We got it turned off, and we're drinking our Gatorades, and we got our helmets off. And we're just bullshitting, in the woods like guys do, and talking about where we're gonna go next. And man, it just got weird. Like all of a sudden, it got weird. It got totally quiet, and there was no noise. Not there wasn't a bird. There wasn't a bug. I mean, we're talking summertime now. There wasn't a bird. There wasn't a bug. It was dead silent. And I'm like, I looked there at my brother. I'm like, listen. He goes, what? I was like, you hear that? He goes, no, what? I was like, exactly. So there's not one single sound. He goes, yeah. I said, this is one of those times that's telling me we need to get the hell out of here. He's like, why is that? I was like, I just got a bad feeling like we don't belong here. He's like, why? I was like, dude, there's no sounds. He's like, yeah. I'm like, we're in the middle of the goddamn woods. He's like, yeah. I'm like, that doesn't seem strange to you. You don't hear a bird. You don't hear a bug. He's like, yeah. I was like, let's get the hell out of here. He goes, yeah, man, that is kind of weird. I was like, yeah, we got our helmets on. We didn't see anything. We didn't smell anything, but I'm telling you, there was something there. And it felt like it was watching us. And it was the creepiest feeling. And I'd never seen a Bigfoot, never have, but I think that's probably the closest thing I've ever come to a Bigfoot encounter was riding those trails. And I tell you what, I never rode that trail again when we were up there. Me and my brother kind of stayed away from that trail because it's really off the beaten path and not a lot of people ride it. And it's a difficult path. So we just never went there again. I said, I'm not going back there. It was definitely off the beaten path of where everybody rode. And I didn't like it. I said, yeah, I said, there was something there. And we talked about that afterwards. I was like, dude, I'm telling you, there was something there. I said, we couldn't see it, but it was there. He was, yeah, man. He said, I've never experienced anything like that. I was like, he said, dude, I'm like, we're in the middle of the woods, man. You don't hear a bird. You don't hear a bug. I mean, it was completely quiet. it was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced in the woods. And I've been in the woods I've been in the woods my whole life, in and out, between hunting and fishing. And my dad introduced me to the woods at a very young age. We used to go walking through the woods to go fishing and things like that. And we never really experienced anything like that. And we were in the woods quite a lot when I was a kid, and I never experienced anything like that ever. I always felt comfortable in the woods, and that was one place I'd never ever I did not feel comfortable whatsoever. And I think that attributed to maybe there was a Bigfoot there, or something that's just there was something there. I can't explain it. It was. I'm telling you, folks, it was weird. If you're ever in the woods and you know the woods, there's always nature going on. You hear bugs, you hear birds, you hear animals running through the woods. To hear quiet, it's kind of like a weird thing. Like I worked in the prison system as a young man, and you know when you go into a prison and you walk into a lunchroom or something like that, and you just hear quiet, you know something bad is getting ready to happen. Uh, that's just how when you hear, prisons are loud. So when you go into a prison and you walk into it and you hear dead silence at a lunchroom, something is getting ready to go down, and you better be prepared to get the hell out of there. That's quite exactly the way I felt in those woods that day, and I'm glad I didn't see anything. I wish I kind of would have seen something, but I didn't. You know what I mean? But I know whatever it was, it gave you that vibe, like, "Nah, you're not supposed to be here. You need to get out of here." And that's what the hell we did. We got the hell out of there. And I never went back there again. And I don't ever plan on going back there either. So I'm gonna read a couple more stories here. Um, this one is from Franklin County, Pennsylvania, White Rocks, PA, Franklin County. A lot of Bigfoot sightings up here too in Franklin County. From what I'm seeing on this chart, I mean it is a ton. Wow. This one's kind of like what I experienced. So this one's in Franklin County. Time of day is at night. So it says we were camping near the edge of a rock face called Brown Rock during the night while I had a small campfire. I keep feeling like I was being watched. I could never see anything. About 30 yards from my hammock, where my hammock was set up, there's a nice flat spot. Half an hour after putting out my fire, leaves were brushed about with branch snaps for about 15 minutes. It ended up with a loud grunt and a small roar, and then took off full speed through the woods, let out that sound two more times. It was fast. They said it was very fast. Into the forest, and a little after midnight, and that was right here, and the footfalls were very heavy. Oh, okay, I don't know why it's a footfall. This is footsteps, but it says after midnight, the footsteps were very, very heavy, and it left about 10 minutes only to return and repeat the same actions as before. The brush for about another 10 to 15 minutes, then it was gone. Never heard it come back or leave. These were hikers. They were backpacking up in the mountains in there in Franklin County. Wow. So they did hear footsteps. They heard leaves brushing around. They heard a couple of loud grunts and then a small roar. Uh, Man, I don't know how people do that shit at night. I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do that at night. I even in your own house when you go to sleep, um, I like locking my door. Like you're in the wilderness, you have like no protection unless you have, like I said, unless you have a weapon. Um, wow, man. Here's another one. This is in Edinburgh, PA, in Cambria County. Daytime, a group of people hiking. saw a non human face looking at them from behind a tree for about 30 seconds before it ran off. It was about 5 to 6 foot tall. They have also had other sightings near the shelter structure covered in the pines and vocalizations near their homes around the same time frame. Man, I mean, there's a lot right in this little area right here. This is all in Cambria County. It's a ton. 1 a.m. Woman fishing alone in the concrete dam barrier heard something walking down the road. She looked and saw a hairy, massive brown figure about 6 to 7.5 foot tall. She shined her flashlight and it reflected back yellowish green eyes. Oof, creepy. It seemed to ignore everything she did as it covered a large distance with its strides and then walked into the woods. This is all in the same county right here. This is Cambria County. There's another one, 5:15 a.m., Cambria County. Hunter going to his tree stand smelled a musty smell, which is associated with Bigfoots. They say when you go into an area and you have this really disgusting musty smell, that it's possibly a Bigfoot there. Just as the hunter's going into the tree stand, smelled a very musty smell. He then heard a whistle type sound, something walking around and breaking large sized branches, and then two whooping type sounds, which they make these whooping type sounds like whoop, whoop, like that through the woods. And he's saying here two whooping type sounds. He stayed in a tree stand. Later, felt like he was being watched while gathering the deer, so he did shoot a deer. And his friend also heard similar type sounds as he was hunting that day as well. I mean, I'm clicking all on. This is all the same county. This is in Altoona, which is really close to there. In Altoona, Pennsylvania, which I've been there. That's where State College is not far from where Penn State is. It's not far from Altoona. This was a turkey hunter. A turkey hunter seen a human-like creature walking away from him at approximately 75 yards. He described this creature as 7 foot tall, weighing around 350 to 400 pounds, covered in reddish brown hair, walking hunched over. Creature walked away into the thick brush on 2 feet. Wow. Jeez. This is another one, Blair County. This county is all right. These three counties are really, really close to each other. It says this one's in Blair County in Claysburg, Pennsylvania. While fishing alone, a man was being watched by a large, dark, shadowy figure. He ran to his car, not returning, and the figure also made loud crashing sounds as it ran into the brush and into the woods. Man, so many reports. Wow. Here's another one. Cambria County. Mother and daughter see a 7 foot dark colored creature cross the road and go up a steep embankment, leaving its arms. What's it say? Leaving its arms at its side. Wow. So basically, it didn't grab anything. It just ran up the side of the hill with its arms at its side. Wow. Pretty awesome, man. I mean, there's so many stories, so many sightings. There's another one. This is in Mahaffey, PA, in Clearfoot County. I mean, these are all really close to each other. Four friends camping were being harassed with a whistling sound and being followed. They fired a BB gun, and a large rock came flying at them within 10 feet. They eventually saw a brown head about 7 foot above some brushes and decided to abandon the trip and get out of there for the night. So they were shooting a BB gun at a Bigfoot. Not a very smart idea. Good Lord. People are crazy. Wow. So many accounts. There's another one. This is a small one, Cambria County. Two men driving notice a 7-foot hairy black creature running upright in a clearing near the windmill farm. Wow. Said it jumped over a fence that was over 6 foot tall. Just one jump cleared the fence. Jesus God. Wow. Here's another one, Somerset County there. Wow, man. This is in Ogle Township, PA, in Somerset County. 10 a.m. while hunting in Ogle Town, just outside of Wimber, PA, on the first day of rifle season. Between 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., I hear a loud, deep, guttural whooping noise. The sound echoed through the woods like nothing I've ever heard. There were, let's see, said there was two. He said there was two loud noises like they never heard before. There were two, like like they were communicating back and forth. They were whooping back and forth at each other, and he said I could hear off to the right and then off to the left. These two making whooping noises back and forth, back and forth. He said this went on for a half an hour or more, while the sounds kept moving from left to right. I also heard some tree knocks in between these whooping noises. These sounds were also heard by my nephew, who was about 300 yards from me. Sounded like they were about 400 to 500 yards away downhill. Sounded like they were about 400 to 500 yards down the hill through the woods from me. He said there is a big swamp area there. He said I was 53 at the time. I've hunted these woods since my teens and never heard anything like that before. No houses around for miles, so it couldn't have been like neighbors or anything like that. He said there's no way possible. He said that he's never heard anything like that, and all the times he's hunted this area, and he's been hunting since he was a kid. So, wow, possible Bigfoot. So I don't know what your take is on this whole Bigfoot thing, but it seems like it's a legitimate phenomenon. Like there is something going on with this Bigfoot stuff. Uh, I mean, Jesus. You click on Pennsylvania, and this whole thing is like lit up with pinpoints of where there's been sightings and reports. And good God, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, even not far from where I live, I don't live far from, like I said, Michelle State Forest and uh, the 4-wheeler trails where I was telling you about, and you know they have a place up in Peach Bottom where some kids experienced a Bigfoot in 1976. I was a small child then, but these teenagers they experienced this phenomena up in Peach Bottom in 1976. Um, Pretty crazy. Trying to find that where that is. Let's see. Here it is, right here. This was in York County. Let's see. This was in 19. So it was in a 3-year span that these kids were seeing this stuff from 1973 to 1976. And this was in Peach Bottom Township, PA. This was in York County, PA. And this is where I live. Um, Location details: Peach Bottom Township, village of Delta, which isn't far from me, maybe about 40 minutes from where I live. We're on the Mason Dixon line near Cardiff and Whiteford, Maryland, which, yeah, it's not far from me. About 6 miles from the Muddy Creek, where it joins the Susquehanna River down in the hollow south of the Muddy Creek between S SR 74 and SR 851, which is their roads. Um, that's a Royal Road 74 and 851. Lies Pastoral Hollow near the creek where there is a clearing served by an old logging trail, which I never knew that was down there. During the summers of 1973 through 1976, inclusive, there were repeated sightings of a Bigfoot like creature that was encountered by many of the students who attended Canardale High School and would camp and party there in the hollow during the summer. Which I heard that I've never read this before, but I heard that many years ago. Let's see. Also, there were several abandoned quarries, heavily wooded, and they provide an incredible degree of nearly inaccessible habitat for the alleged beast. Observed a large man-like creature covered in hair, nearly 7 foot tall, covered in hair, with a great, with a what's that say, a gayet, nearly 4 foot in length. Wow. Uh, the stories, the stories abounded while we were in school, and many sightings would be seen during the beginning and near the end of deer season. So basically, it's following the deer season, which sounds like it hunts. So it sounds like these Bigfoots do follow a deer pattern, which is probably their food. So they're following the deer pattern. Wherever the deer are moving in season, they move along with them. And they're hunting them, which is pretty cool. That's giving you a pattern of maybe how they hunt and they travel. They follow the deer, which is smart. They're following their food. Um, also noticed. Let's see. This is in near Philadelphia Electric's Peach Bottom nuclear power plant. There is a nuclear power plant there, the Peach Bottom nuclear power plant, which I've fished along there. 37 miles south, 3 Mile Island. Yeah, that's right near 3 Mile Island, which, if anyone knows, in this country, in the United States, that it almost melted down. We almost had a Chernobyl incident at 3 Mile Island in the 80s. There is a documentary on that on Netflix about the Peach Bottom almost meltdown. That would have been disastrous. That would have killed everyone within a 50-mile radius of that plant, which my house is in a 50-mile radius of that plant. I don't live far from Peach Bottom Power Plant. It's no longer operable anymore, but it almost melted down, and it's kind of weird. They do see UFO sightings near Peach Bottom and 3 Mile Island. There are a lot of UFO sightings and Bigfoot sightings, and there's also a an old. They actually have a festival of this Bigfoot. Forgot what the hell they call it in Columbia, Pennsylvania. Excuse me, folks. Oh my lord, I get the yawners for tonight for some reason. I guess because it's Monday night. But I hope y'all had a good Fourth of July here in the United States. That today's the Fourth of July for us, celebrating our Independence Day. But I had a few many drinks this morning today. But yeah, there is a little legend in Columbia, Pennsylvania, of a little Bigfoot. It's not from what it's. They've seen this thing at this place called Chicky Rocks. It's a small Bigfoot. It's like 4 foot tall, little hairy creature. I forgot what the hell they call this thing. They do a festival every year in Columbia, Pennsylvania, about this little Bigfoot thing. Uh, Dang, I can't remember what the name of it was. It'll come to me one of these times. But yeah, Bigfoot, they're real. I think they're real. They got to be real. They got to be real. And we have a ton of them in Pennsylvania. But you click on the map of the United States, and they're all over the United States. I mean, they stretch down into South America. They go up into Alaska, really big on the West Coast in Oregon, and up through British Columbia, um, and Alberta, Canada. Man, I mean, it goes So many sightings. These things got to be real, folks. They got to be real, without a doubt. Pennsylvania is just the tip of the iceberg of sightings. Uh, you go to the West Coast. I mean, it's unbelievable of the sightings, and whew, I mean, we could go on and on with the stories just in Pennsylvania. Could probably do a 3 hour show on it, but wow, man, it is a ton of stuff. Good God. Well, folks, I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. Thank you for coming to the show and listening to the Paranormal Journal. I'm going to have way more stuff coming on about Bigfoot, and I'm going to have some Bigfoot experts, UFOs, exorcists. I'm going to have Rob on with Ghost Tech again. He wants to talk about some new and upcoming stuff he's going to be building for doing paranormal investigations, which I am glad because this guy's awesome. He's helping us, try to figure out these paranormal things with ghosts and maybe try to detect them better. And I really appreciate his knowledge in this field. And he's going to be a regular on the show talking about his equipment. So definitely stay tuned for that. I am going to have Archbishop Frey on. Probably going to try to get Archbishop Bishop Long on. Archbishop Long. I'm going to try to get him on as well. I've been talking to him about a few things. Bill Bean's going to come on with me again, and it's just going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to have Barry Comrade probably back on again with Jeff Wheatcraft and those investigators from that did the San Pedro haunting. I'm going to have those three guys on all at once talking about everything that happened with that investigation. I definitely want to talk with Jeff Wheatcraft. He's the man who got hung in the attic in that case. So there's so much good stuff that's going to happen with this paranormal stuff and the Bigfoot stuff, the UFO stuff. Oh my God, we can go on and on about the UFO stuff, which we're going to. I'm going to have some pretty cool people on about the UFOs. We just did Crystal Skulls with Joshua Shapiro, and he's going to probably be coming back on as well, talking more about his programs that he's building, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So keep tuning in, share the podcast, like it, go to Podbean, and follow me on Podbean, and you'll get all the updates when I go live and stuff like that when I do episodes. And I will have some merchandise I'm going to be giving out to people. So if you want a mug, a coffee mug, a Paranormal Journal coffee mug, or something like that, then give me an email. Send me an email at Paranormal Journal 18 dot. Paranormal Journal 18 at Comcast.net. I keep wanting to give you my website for my paranormal group. And if you want to go to that, you can go to that. That's the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society.com. You can go check that out, or you can go to Harrisburg Area Paranormal.com and check that site out as well. But I will be having I'm going to get another website for the Paranormal Journal. But if you want some memorabilia or something from the Paranormal Journal, you want a coffee mug or a T-shirt or something like that, just send me an email at paranormaljournal18 at comcast.net, and I'll try to get you some memorabilia from the show, and hopefully you like it. I'm going to have some pretty cool coffee cups made up and stuff like that because I like coffee. So definitely stay tuned, folks, and you have a good rest of your week. I will have another episode posting here shortly with Rob from GhostGearTech.com. He's going to come back on, and we're going to do another show here probably in the next couple of days, and I'll be posting that one real quick too. So definitely tune in, folks. Come to Podbean, download the app on your tablet, your iPhone. Follow me on there. Share this post out to your friends, your family, whoever. The more listeners, the better for me. I love people hearing my content and hearing what I have to say. Thank you for all my loyal listeners that download every episode, and I appreciate you and keep listening. You guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys soon.
That will conclude our broadcast of the Paranormal Journal podcast. Have a great night.